Hello, this is the CSC training video for the Student-Teacher Linkage Form. Thank you for being your school's campus survey coordinator for the OECD study of social and emotional skills. Your role as a CSC is vital to this study because survey administration in the schools would be impossible without your involvement. As a CSC, one of your earliest and most important tasks is to link students to teachers using the STLF, which is short for Student-Teacher Linkage Form. The teacher that a student is linked to should be one that knows the student well and is willing to fill out a 10-minute questionnaire about the student. Teachers will receive a $10 gift card for each student they complete a questionnaire about. The deadline for submitting the STLF is Wednesday, September 25th. Depending on the number of students sampled in your school, this task will require 2 to 3 hours to complete, but does not need to be completed in one sitting. You are welcome to save your work and come back to it. This video will provide you with direction about how to access your campus's STLF on SharePoint, procedures and tips for linking students, and how to submit the STLF when you are done. If you have any issues or questions about the STLF process, please contact the District Survey Coordinator, Sharetta Edwards, immediately. She can also help you set up a one-on-one session with the project's data manager to help you fill out the form. To access the STLF, go to Office 365.houstonisd.org and log in with your normal HISD credentials. From there, you will click on the SharePoint icon at the top of the screen right here. To access the CSC page, you can click on the CSC site if it's saved under Frequent or Save Sites for you. You can also search CSC and it will show up here. Once you're on the CSC dashboard, you'll click on the tile that says Student-Teacher Linkage Form. In this page, you will see general information about the form, a link to a PDF containing steps for how to complete the STLF, as well as Sharetta's contact information if you have a question about the form. At the bottom of the page, right here, you will see your campus's STLF. If you do not see a file or it is not the correct file for your campus, please contact Sharetta immediately. Assuming you have the correct file, click on that link and it will open up the Excel spreadsheet in your computer's browser like so. This form should not be completed in the Excel desktop app as it is designed purposefully for the browser app. The browser app keeps students' information more secure and will save you from having to transfer multiple versions of this form into and out of SharePoint. Furthermore, the browser app will automatically save your progress every time you edit and click out of a cell, reducing the likelihood of you losing any of your hard work. Now that you have the spreadsheet open in the browser app, I would like to direct your attention to some important fields in the STLF. First, you will need to check the school name is aligned with your campus. If it is not, please contact Sharetta immediately. Once that is verified, please type in your name in the CSC name field, as well as your email in the email field. Starting at the left of the document, you will see 5 pieces of student information: student ID number, student name, grade, gender, and SEN, which stands for Special Education Need. We will go into more detail about the special education need later on in this demonstration. The students' names are listed in alphabetical order by their last name, starting at cell C8, and may continue down as far as cell C102, depending on the number of students sampled at your school. As you can see, the students listed on this form go down all the way to row 102. The majority of high schools will have 95 students sampled, while the majority of elementary schools will have 55 students sampled. Scrolling to the right of the form, you will see a list of every teacher at your campus beginning in cell L5. These are also listed in alphabetical order by last name. Schools with as many as 200 teachers may extend very far to the right on this form. For example, this form extends to column EP because there are 130 teachers at this school. So it will require some scrolling. Column EP. The cells that contain student information and teacher information are protected from editing. If you try to delete or edit like I'm doing now, you might see an error message like this. That's just to keep the data secure so that when we transfer it into the forms that we need to do the login information, that everything is still correct. Although you cannot edit the cells, if you do notice an error about any student or teacher information, please contact Sharetta and we will resolve it as soon as we are made aware. You will be using the student names and other identifiers to match them to one teacher at your school. To do so, you will place a 1 in the cell where the student and teacher you are linking to one another intersects. For example, if you want to link our first student, Agnes Aguilar, to Miss Vicky Allison, you'll put a 1 in the row and column where they meet. This teacher that they're linked to should be a teacher that knows them well and is willing to complete the questionnaire about them. You'll notice that the blank message in cell A8 has disappeared once you clicked on a different cell. Anytime a student is linked to only one teacher, that blank message will disappear. However, if we accidentally linked Agnes to Miss Allison and Mr. Austin, you'll see an error message that appears. This indicates that a student is linked to 2 or more teachers. If you see this error message, scroll along that student's row and correct it so they are only linked to one teacher. So I'll delete this link and you'll see that it goes back to normal here. 2 important columns to bring your attention to are columns J and columns K. If a student has a special education need that may affect their ability to take the survey, such as a visual impairment or intellectual disability, it will be listed in column J. Most students with a special education need will be able to take the survey with or without accommodations. However, some of these students may need to be excluded if their disability is severe enough. You should consult the CSC manual and the STLF how-to to see specific reasons why a student should be excluded. But in all cases, you will need to consult a qualified staff person to make that determination. If a qualified staff member indicates that a student cannot participate in the survey, put a 1 in column K that says withdrawn, excluded, in lieu of linking them to a teacher. For example, if our second student, Andre Allen, cannot participate in the survey even with accommodations, you would put a 1 in cell K9 to indicate that he needs to be excluded from the study. This will prevent you from getting that blank message so that you know that every student has been identified in the sheet. The next student down the list, Kelly Anderson, also has a special education need. But let's say her teacher has determined that she is still able to take the survey. In this case, you would link her to the teacher that knows her well and is willing to fill out the questionnaire about her, just as you would for our first student, Agnes. So we'll link Kelly to Miss Anderson here. You may also have students that were sampled but who are no longer at your school at the time you are completing the STLF. In this case, you would place a 1 in the withdrawn excluded column in place of linking them to a teacher. For example, you'll mark a 1 in cell K11 to show that Tyra Banks is no longer enrolled at that campus. This will prevent that blank message from appearing even though the student's no longer at your school. Let's continue linking some students until we get to Annie Bowman in row 16. So just Just going to link a few students here until we get down to row 16, Annie Bowman. You'll see in Annie's SEN column, LEP equals 1, and non-English, non-Spanish speaker. This means that she is not a native speaker of either survey language and is not proficient in either survey language as well. If Annie has received less than 1 year of instruction in English or Spanish, she should be excluded from the study. If she has received more than 1 year of instruction in English or Spanish, she should participate in the survey and be linked to a teacher in the STLF. Just as you would with any other sampled student, consult the teacher that knows this student well to determine if they should be excluded from the study. If they can participate in the study, link them to a teacher if they're willing to fill the questionnaire about them. Let's say this is Annie's first year of instruction in English or Spanish. So we will exclude her by putting a 1 in cell K16 to indicate that she's being excluded from the study. Remember, anytime you have a linkage, so a 1 in column K, then you do not link that student to a teacher. Continue working your way down through the form until all the blanks and error message in column A over here disappear. You'll notice that row 7 updates with the number of teachers that are linked to, or the number of students that are linked to a teacher. So you'll see here the number of students is increasing. As you continue linking more students to teachers, you may see a warning message appear below one of the teachers' names. So I'll show you that right here. For example, if we linked 15 students to Mr. Aguilar, it wouldn't create a warning message. However, once a teacher is linked to more than 15 students, it creates this warning message. That's because no more than 15 students should be linked to one teacher. Please resolve these warning messages by linking remaining students to other teachers once an individual teacher has 15 students already. So we'll delete the linkage here, and we won't link any more students to Mr. Aguilar. We'll try to find another teacher that could fill out the questionnaire for Miss Sue Duncan here. So let's say Mr. Austin. So I know this demonstration is an ideal scenario when you only have so many teachers and students, but because there are so many rows and columns on the sheet, I want to provide you some tips that will help make navigating it easier for you. So first thing I recommend is collapsing the ribbon to give you more space to view the student and teacher names. So to collapse the ribbon, you'll click on this arrow. You'll see that message, collapse the ribbon. And this just gives you a little bit more space, a few more rows to view student names. So that'll be less scrolling down for you. If you would like to expand the ribbon for any reason, just click on one of these menu bars and click the push pin to lock it back in place. Another thing that may not be on your sheet once you get it is the frozen panes. So what that means is when you scroll to the right, the student information is locked in place. If you scroll down, the teacher information is locked in place. Your sheet may not come frozen, but it's very helpful to have it frozen so that when you're scrolling all the way down or all the way to the right, you can still see the student that you're trying to find a teacher for. So I'm going to show you, in case yours isn't frozen, how to do that. So you'll click on cell K8, so this corner cell, freeze panes. So mine's already frozen, but if it wasn't, you click on freeze panes, click on view, freeze panes again. That will lock it in place there and lock it in place up there. Once you have finished linking all your students, review column A, so this column, all the way down. Make sure you don't have any blanks or errors all the way down to your last student. And then once every student is linked to a teacher or to the withdrawn excluded column, make sure that you don't have any teachers in row 7 with warning signs because they had too many students linked to them. Once all that's done, you are ready to submit the STLF. Make sure before you exit out that you click on a cell so it can auto-save the last linkage that you did, and then you can just click back in your browser button. And we're going to go back to the home page for the CSC dashboard. And this is where you'll submit the STLF. So these steps are pretty simple. You just click on this Submit STLF tile. And your page, unlike mine, will only have one drop-down bar, one drop-down menu. So you'll click on that. You'll get an option for yes, no. You'll click yes. And then you'll see this stop in the stop editing this list. You'll click on that and it will mark it as complete. You can go back to the home page. And that's the end of the STLF submission process. So please remember that the deadline to submit is Wednesday, September 25th. We cannot generate any survey login information for students, parents, teachers, or principals until teachers are linked to students for all schools. We greatly appreciate the willingness, the time, and the effort you are putting in to make this survey a success. Please do not hesitate to contact Sharetta if you have any questions or if you would like to schedule a one-on-one session with our data manager to help you complete the form.